The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to LSRTV on iRacing Live and YouTube. Bringing you round number 9 here of the Superspeedway Cup. We're here in the midday sun in high banks of Daytona. And with me, Rachel Whiteford, joined tonight by special guest Ray Richer. And we head to this next round of the series. Rounds counting down now as we head towards the playoffs. And those all-important places, well, there aren't many left. Ray, it's going to be a big one tonight. Daytona, always troublesome, but it's going to be important to get the race right tonight.
Absolutely, Rachel. I think we're in for a great show this evening. We're high speed, high banks of Daytona, 2.5 mile speedway, as everyone knows, alongside Talladega. Of course, qualifying has begun at this point in time, keeping an eye on Seth DeMerchant, who is fastest in practice at 44.293. Right now, he takes out to his first lap. We'll see what happens from here on out. Rachel, I think it's going to be a great race this evening.
Certainly is going to be a very interesting one tonight, of course, and we can take a look at our race points so far. Well, the standings: Jorgensen Jr., Brandon Chaburko, Shane McEachin, and Derek Walker in with wins. That leaves 5th place Corey Henry as your points leader without a win at the moment. He's there on 674. Behind him, Paul Savant, Rodney Wofford, Rod Flagg, Ray Rittenauer as second, Chris Bassini, Garrett Atwell, and Andrew Berger sitting there with the cut-off points to 13th place. That's leaving Frank Basilia III, Brandon Cruz Monsivice, and Scott Warren just outside in the cold. And that's going to be the tricky one here tonight, of course.
Of course, these teams are, by the way, on a loose setup. It is a fixed league, from what I understand. With that being said, I think that it's going to be really tough to kind of keep up with the lead pack, especially if they have a breakaway with an arrow push.
It certainly is, and well, the qualifying is underway. Cars out on track, and we'll see what these guys can do in terms of setting time. Stephen Walker, first time across the line, 47.284. We'll have to see if this one is a factor. But folks, do not forget, of course, this series is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, and they help power our coverage here on LSRTV. It's the official timing software of LSRTV. You can get it today at joel-real-timing.com. That is joel-real-timing.com. And you can use what we use to power your racing. Have a look on board the 20 car right now here as they're going around the huge banking here, Ray, in the qualifying conditions. Track always difficult. Derek Walker, though, on a good lap, it looks.
So far, so good. 6th fastest in practice with 44.429 on his second lap, hitting the low line at the stripe right now. We'll see what he's got below the double yellow, trying to get that little extra of the track. Second spot taken by Derek Walker in the number 20 at 47.169. Only 1/1000th of a second separates the front row.
That is a super close front row as Seth DeMerchant leading the way with a 168. If we look here at the 98 car, Andy Kessler, LSRTV's own there, rolling around the track. Let's see what that Ford Fusion could do in today's one. The Fords have looked strong so far, but, well, time will tell what they can do.
A little bit of a difference between these cars, especially with the Fords and the Chevys. The Toyotas kind of got a little league of their own. Bit of horsepower difference, not really all that much. Again, all on the same setup. Low side going into 3 right now. Andy Kessler trying to make that lap fast as possible. Does not go below the yellow line, double yellow line, on the front chute. Gets as close as possible. Now he's down below it. Usually they get at the low spot on the line, but he got at a transition on the track in the tri-oval. 13th fastest at this point. 14th as he goes down the line.
Certainly is, and the timing's coming in now. drivers to keep our eyes on as we look at the 94 car here on his lap. Frank Basili III. A beautiful black and white after midnight menu McDonald's machine there. Rolling round. We'll see if he can hit the drive-through here as he comes through the tri-oval. Will it be a quarter pounder or will it be a Big Mac for Frank Basili III? I'm being yelled at by my director about making puns already, but you know what, folks? You're here with me, Rachel Whiteford for LSRTV. You're always going to get puns because that's why you come to listen.
A little bit of a throwback theme for Frank. Seventh fastest at the moment in time, 47.192 on the charts. A lot of guys so far we're keeping an eye on to see if they do take it a lap, or they want to start out and back, which is legal, of course, in iRacing. And if they do, they might be able to avoid a big one that may end up early.
Absolutely, and we can expect a quick one here. These guys race hard off the blocks, and we'll see what they can do. Will they go hard? Will they have a few crashes and then get patient? Or will we see bumper-to-bumper racing all day long as 94 at Frank Basili there was taking the bus stop. But as we'll take across to your grid, it's time to run through your LSRTV starting order. On the pole tonight, Seth De Merchant with a time of 1:47.168. Alongside him by 1/1000th, Derek Walker. Row number 2, Rodney Warford with Paul Savant in 4th place. Row number 3, Ray Rinner 2nd and Rod Flagg. Row number 4, Frank Basili III and Jason Altmans with Justin Vine and Garrett Atwell on row 5.
Excuse me, I was a little bit distracted there. Apologize, guys. In row number 6 of the 11th place of 28 of Shane McKeon. Number 12 of Corey Henry starts 12th on the outside of him. The number 1 of Chris Panzini starts in the 13th position, and then 36 of Nathan Davis will be 14th. Starting 15th this evening, the number 26 of Daniel Holloway, and the outside of him in 16th place will be 98 of Andy Kessler. 17th place goes to Gary Champion. In the 18 car, Stephen Waller, number 67, will start in the 18th place. 19th, Dan Harrington in the 82. And rounding out your top 20 will be Mike Jorgensen Jr. in the 88 car.
Unusual not to see Mark Jorgensen Jr. qualifying. Maybe he's got a bad omen in his sights. 21st place will be Casey Malone. Brandon Chaburko, 22nd in the 22. If that's not an omen, I don't know what is. Ramon Evans in 23rd. Kenny Haldeman in 24th. Brandon Cruz Monsivice. Tom Drayling, Dwayne Cooper, Kelly Dahl, Jared Treese, and Scott Warren round out your 30-car grid for tonight. We're going to get ready to go rolling off pit road very shortly. Ray, predictions.
Well, this evening I haven't watched a lot of the Superspeedway Club, but I knew a few of these guys from other leagues, including Daytona Top Shelf, of course, which actually ran last night. And I think that, let me see here, Raymond Reitenhauer, who actually starts in the 5th place in the 87, seems to have a really good shot at it. I like his driving style. I like how smart he is in the track, especially when it comes to pitting and keeping it up front. How about yourself, Rachel?
Always tough to rule out the likes of Mark Jorgensen Jr. and, of course, Brandon Chaburko, both starting at the back here. Omens that they might be trying to avoid early yellow flags. It'll be interesting to find out, of course. Don't forget the Daytona track facts, of course. Daytona International Speedway, 30 plus degrees of banking here in this 2.50 mile course. It's going to be a very tricky race for these guys tonight. The weather, 78 degrees and track of 104. Winds north 2 miles an hour, about 50% humidity. Good racing conditions here, Ray. We should have a fantastic one ahead of us here on the storied banks here at Daytona.
Absolutely, Rachel. Now, keep in mind, I do believe this is the old Speedway before the pave, which actually was built in 1957 and first race in 1959. This actually is a little bit of a rough surface. Doesn't seem to chew up the tires very much. Oh, this is the 2011. I'm being informed right at the moment in time. With that being the case, even though they do have the same setup, these tires should last for quite a while, depending on wrecks, of course. As for fuel, I do believe they do not run a full fuel cell. I'm looking for that fact as we speak. Let me see here. Guys, I think it's 11 gallons, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Fuel they are running in this one, yeah, should be about 11 gallons. The middle off to pit road, and Seth De Merchant will be under the command of your field. Front row himself and Derek Walker will now be your front row, separated by 1,000th of a second, and qualifying. Green flag will fly, and it's a neck and neck run to that start-finish line. We're racing here at Daytona for round number 9.
Familiar sight here at Daytona International Speedway, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. We're hoping the outside line can keep up this evening. Most of the time that will be a slow going once they start single filing on the lower side. It seems like the 32 of Seth DeMott pulls out to an early lead. Right behind him on his tail, Rodney Wolford in the number 7 gets ahead of the 32 of Seth DeMerchant, and Seth falls back shortly.
He certainly does. Seth DeMerchant just going to be patient early on. The 3 and the 20 on the outside there. Paul Savant and Derek Walker. Not much help, but this is typical for the series. We don't see the outside line getting going too soon. Any week you can count. Stands DeMerchant with, behind him, the 87 and the 7 will stay up there in command of this one. In fact, the top 10 almost dropping back single file here. All the way back to our 28 card, Shane McEachin. These guys, they want to make it to the end of this race.
Keeping an eye on that inside line, it seems to be the preferable place, obviously, to be. A lot of the guys in the top line, obviously, dropping down single file. One guy left out to dry. Looks to be 28 of Shane McKeon. Looking for a spot to sneak in. Again, another guy goes to the high side, 51 of Jay Riot. At this time, I believe he'd be falling back in line, especially if they're going to go for the long runs this time.
It certainly is. 51 there. Jason Altman's running on the high side, getting some help from Bassini in the 1. And the 4 will come up of Garrett Atwell. Going to see a bit of an effort coming forwards here as up will look the 20 of Derek Walker. Going to be joining his teammate Chris Bassini possibly as they make their way towards the front in this race. Atwell chickens out. He drops back to the low side. 12 Corey Henry. He is tentatively looking at there as well, as a few of these guys will look up the track. And we have our first concerted effort here on the high side, making its way forwards.
Jay Mamet trying to take and make that line go as the 20 of Derek Walker and the 94 of Frank Buzetta III pulls out to that second line. They try to make it work. They're forming up a pack real slow-like, but the bottom line seems to only have 3 cars up front. That includes Ray Reitenhauer, Rodney Wolford, and Seth DeMerchant, who is actually back to the lead.
Certainly is, as DeMerchant sitting out front, looking comfortable, but here comes Basilia III. We'll see if Frank can make it happen, as behind him, the 20, the 51, and the 1 start pushing their way forwards.
Outside line on the move, only 4 cars now taking it up in that group. Lower line only 3, but that's going to change shortly when the 10 of Rod Flagg and the 4 of Garrett Atwell seem to take and try to form up. The 4 is deciding on which line to even try. He's behind the 1 now on the outside line, which again seems to be on the move.
Certainly looks that way, as we'll keep our eyes on this field as the race will progress here today. Things looking very entertaining. We'll have to see what happened in the coming laps, of course, as we're here on lap number 5. Take a quick look back. Andy Kessler, LSRTV's own, back in 14th place. He's in this second pack here. Ray, he's on the inside line. That is where he and, of course, Kelly Dahl said they'd stay for the duration of this race. Dahl back in that 99 machine. He's also running on the low side. A lot of guys want to stay low tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely the preferred place to be. I've seen it before where I've run one of these races where if you stay on the low line, a lot of guys will go to the outside. Nobody wants to help you. They fall back, and obviously you get the advantage. Right now, looking behind the 98 of Andy Kessler, looks to be that 12 of Corey Henry, who is trying to get around him but absolutely has no help. Falls back onto the low side, going back up front, 2 by 2 again with Seth DeMerchant leading the pack on the low line.
Certainly is. The field will start to make its way forward. It's got plenty of liveries in the field, and I suppose the biggest thing I can really point out here at the moment, Ray, is we're not seeing a certain thing on the 1, the 20, the 7, and a few other cars. No Dark Horse Racing banner on the back of their roofs. Are we seeing a fracture? Oh, caution will fly here.
Caution is
on
out.
lap
Caution
number
is
6. 06 with problems here. Tom Drayling. Turns 3 and 4. Gonna get the replay up for you, of course, as, well, looks like he lost it all on his own. He goes low in 3. Replay will show you there. Grabs the apron, goes up, goes down, goes up into the outside safer barrier. And it's collected there at the end by a very unlucky 67 of Stephen Waller, who's just in the wrong place at the right time there, Ray.
That's exactly what I seen, Rachel. It just seems like, again, a little bit of a loose condition. Isn't totally horrible. Nobody around him at the time when he did lose it. He hit that low line, just upset the car enough, obviously, to make it spin up and came down again. Stephen Waller, unfortunately, the victim of circumstance there.
So it was. Pit stops will be coming up here. Lap number 7 in your race. We'll see some drivers head to pit road. Most likely all of them. Most likely for 2 tyres in this one. Your top 10 as it stands. Seth the Merchant, Frank Basile the third, Rodney Warford, Derek Walker, Ray right now the second, Jason Altmans, Rod Flagg, Chris Persini, Garrett Atwell, and Paul Savant. As we were mentioning just a moment ago, Ray, I had noticed a lack of the Dark Horse Racing banners on the 20, the 7, the 1, and a couple of other cars. We might have seen the fracture of one of the big teams here. This could make things very interesting, as we just saw, I believe that was the 7 of Wofford, about to fake and then decide not to stay on pit road. As in fact, your leader, I believe, has stayed out, as Seth the Merchant, who chooses to stay on the racetrack.
Yeah, I've seen that. Seth the Merchant may not be a bad move here. I did check it out. We are running 70% fuel this evening. And one thing I've noticed, too, that they've got one quick repair, which means if they get completely wrecked, they'll be able to repair the car to 100%. With that being said, it looks like we've got a lot of 4 tire takers. I've got to go back and look to see if anybody taken 2 at the time. I don't believe track position is all that important at this point in time, but Seth, good call, I think, on his part.
Certainly would look that way here tonight. Change of position off pit road. Derek Walker beating Ray Ritenour off the pit road. He will take a spot there. In fact, looks as though we might have seen some speeding from Frank Basile the third, because Rodney Warford, actually not Rodney Warford, Derek Walker up to 2nd place here.
Now, one thing I noticed, too, by the way, on that pit stop, the 87 of Ray Ritenour only took 2 left-hand side tires. There was one other team. I'm trying to figure out who that is. Excuse me just a moment, please. Take a look back at that.
Certainly as we'll take a look at how this one is positioning itself, of course, but field getting very much back into racing form here tonight. We'll see what these guys will do, of course, but we've had about 6-7 laps under green flag conditions, and they've not been racing super hard. Could we see a real push from the field right now, Ray?
Absolutely, I think, Rachel. Now, the other car, by the way, I did see that took only 2 inside tires, the 94 of Frank Busala III. He ends up right now out in the, let me see where he restarts. I'm going to believe it's the 2nd position, which would be on the outside of the front row. The advantage goes to Ray Ritenour and the 94 of Frank Busala III, who, again, only took 2 tires this time.
Certainly did, but we will be right back, folks. We're going to go for a quick commercial break. Do not change that dial. You're watching LSRTV on iRacing Live.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the tire model? Nothing?
And welcome back here to Superspeedway Cup at Daytona International Speedway, as the pace car will pull off, leaving Derek Walker in command of your field. Frank Basile III, we had a late pit stop, of course, by the driver of Seth the Merchant, who was your leader. Green flag will fly back under green flag conditions here at Daytona, and Ray, well, the outside line got a far better run this time by, as the 94.7-4 get a huge jump there. Basile the third clear before they enter turn 1. Gonna look to halfway pull down, and he will abandon Wofford in a heartbeat.
Wofford with a little tap to the 20 of Derek on the inside line. Outside line seems to be on the move. Obviously, it was an advantage for Frank in the 94, who is now taking over the inside line and the lead. The 20 follows him through, pulls ahead of the front of the pack on the outside line. Rodney Walford will actually fall back a little bit. It seems like the outside line's falling apart piece by piece. A little bit high in the 20, almost taps the 7 in the front fender. We're going down the front stretch as we speak.
We certainly are, as the 7 starts to get a good run with the 4 of Atwell behind him there. 20 of Derek Walker wobbling around a little bit. Altman's in the 51, that Haas automation machine behind him in the back of your outside front group there. Pushing its way along, just riding, but not the position he perhaps finds most comfortable. Most important, though, we are watching in this one as we look for your leaders. Jorgensen Jr., 9 laps down, technical problems for him. This is unusual. He's completely out of contention unless we have 9 cautions, which, actually, never mind, that's possible. Mark Jorgensen Jr. basically out of contention for the win, which is unusual already. And it leaves likes of the 22 of Jaburko, who is currently running, well, chasing his way up towards the mid-pack very rapidly, as he is wont to do. Up in 19th place. He's got a free rein to go after this one, so we could either see a first-time winner here, someone breaking into those playoff positions, or we could see one of our repeat winners come back and snatch this one.
A lot of races won and lost. Excuse me, a little tongue-tied there. As I'm saying that, the number 7 of Rodney Walford goes on the outside line, takes the lead away from the 94 of Frank Bouchard III. Still, the low line seems to be the dominant place, though. Garrett Atwell on the outside, now in control of the outside line. A lot of side drafting going on here, but it seems to not be working very well. A little bit of a loose condition with this setup from what I'm hearing. When that happens, when they start doing a little side drafting, it seems like they just want to tap doors and continue on, and hopefully it doesn't cause too much damage. Again, another lead change in the number 4 of Garrett Atwell now from the outside line, jumps down in front of the 7 of Rodney Wolford, and he will lead this lap.
He certainly will. Atwell there, as Altman's now has a clear run on the outside of 12 of Corey Henry. Will push him now forwards at Taco Bell. Chevrolet going to push the Haas forward. I still can't get used to saying the Haas forward, but it's the same in real Monster Energy Cup as it is here in the Super Speedway Cup. Altman's now leading the outside line. Only 2 of them, not going to be enough to get power to push them towards the front here. Very much on their own, although they do have some cars coming up from behind, like the 76 of Scott Warren. Can he get up in time, or will they be joined by any friends? The 31 will look up. That's the Wheeler machine of Kenny Holderman. And we're going to start to see a real charge forming here on the outside as we are on lap 15 of tonight's 100-lap event.
Keep my eye on the number 1 of Chris Pazzini. He takes the inside line. I thought he was going to jump to that outside behind the 31 for a short bit of Kenny Holderman, but didn't take the chance. He seems like he's got a good push by the 32 of Seth the Merchant. Right side by side racing right now out front. The number 4 again of Gary Atwell seems like he's going to lead another lap. The inside line again moving along very well. A couple guys from behind looking to join that line in the 36 of Nathan Davis, as well as the 76 of Scott Warren. A little bit of space back, about 2 cars behind to the next pack, which looks to be slowly creeping up at this point.
certainly is. And Atwell holds on to that lead for now as well. The outside line forming up, as you mentioned. Wofford will jump with them. And oh, some lane changing by Atwell as he tries to keep hold of that one, but it splits everything up. Momentum lost on the low side as here comes Basila the third, here comes Altmans, here comes Henry. As a big boost there for the 94 machine, as that fractious behaviour on the inside line really changed things. 3 wide here, off turn 3 on lap number 16. Corey, Henry, Chris Bassini and Jason Altmans is behind him. Haldeman joining into this one as well. Action is fast and it is absolutely furious here on Daytona as they go 3 wide through the tri-oval before they settle down into turn 1. And look who's joined the group. Oh, contact!
We got a spinner behind. Double wrecks. Caution's out.
Big problems here at Daytona as they headed into turn number 1. It was 2 separate sets of issues, and it looked to be the same throughout your field. In fact, if we look at this, we saw 3 cars have issues, the 31 and the 22 and the 75. In fact, all 3 of them seem to lose control of their cars at the same time, dropping down the racetrack before snapping back up again. Huge junk here at Daytona.
Rachel, that was definitely strange to see these guys all at once have issues, especially I'm looking at the first incident, which was the 31 of Kenny Holderman. He actually looks like he lost it going into the corner. At the same time, I'm kind of looking at the 12 here of Corey Henry. It looks like net code on my end from what I'm seeing. When the 31 lost it, hit the 20 come up the track, and literally to me it looks like there was at least 6 inches to a foot between him and the 12, and that's what caused the first incident. Behind them, it looked to be the 22 getting tapped to the 76 a little bit of Scott Warren and losing control coming down the track, and unfortunately hitting the 36, collecting more cars, including the 92 of Casey Malone.
We're looking at the 99 of Kelly Dahl here on replay as he went into that incident. Dahl, of course, said he was going to stick to the low side, stay out of trouble here. Well, Kelly Dahl was just lucky there. Incredible avoidance. Managing to miss nearly everything apart from a little tap on the 76, but could be far, far worse. We're going to have a try and chat to that 99 machine of Kelly Dahl, if we can get a second whilst he's on pit road here. Kelly Dahl, it's Rachel Wyford up here in the LSRTV booth. You got a copy?
I've got you now.
Hey, Kelly, so, nearly pulled a Danica avoiding all that wrecking race cars in turns 1 and 2, but a little bit of a tap on the 76. How's the car feeling?
I had to go in and use my quick repair. The engine blew up. I don't know how. I felt like I barely tapped that car in front of me, but it just pushed that front end right up, and I think must have destroyed the radiator, because as soon as I got on the throttle, my water temp just skyrocketed, so had to bring that thing down after it blew up. So I'm going to be at the tail end of the field now, but hopefully I can just cruise around to the back for a little bit, kill some time, and make a push near the end.
Well, it's certainly been going along with your race strategy of stay low, stay at the back, stay out of trouble, but unfortunately what could have been probably the biggest wreck avoidance of the year was just caught out by one spinning car at the end. You go, of course, hoping to get that Canadian Air Force Chevrolet to the front towards the end?
We'll have to see what we can do. Like, it's a bit difficult to pass here tonight, because the car's a little loose on the high side. It almost seems a little tight on the low side, so it's gonna be interesting how we're gonna be able to make this work. See if we can get multiple lines going on here, but we're not gonna really be able to tell till the end.
Well, best of luck with the rest of the race. Kelly Dahl, of course, the Canadian Air Force Chevrolet there, the number 99 machine. Best of luck, Kelly. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
Oh, interesting insight there from Kelly Dahl, of course, Ray. It's tricky tonight from what we're seeing. These guys have really got no warning. And that seemed to be about, well, 8 to 9 laps after our restart there. These guys having some problems, and it seemed to be throughout the pack there were issues.
Almost seems like a sequence. I think the first wreck happened on lap 6. This is lap 18, which actually be 3 times later, of course. But let's hope those are the only 2 incidents for the whole night. As for Kelly Dahl in the 99, I got to congratulate him for starting in the back. He started 28th. He's one of the cars that actually didn't qualify this evening. Only 19 cars qualified, and that was one of the advantages you just saw. Obviously, wreck happening, slamming on the brakes. He did catch a little bit of it, of course, but on the same note, he was able to avoid to the point being taken out of the whole race.
Certainly was, and we'll have to see what will develop from that one and how it will end up progressing forwards, of course, as we have an incredible race still to play out here in tonight's event. So many laps to go, so many drivers yet to be involved. Seth the Merchant back towards the front. Dwayne Cooper, the 00, going to be leading off this restart. Things got crazy there. We had a big shuffle. And now we've lost a lot of our big name drivers. Well, at least they've lost their fast repair. That backup car is gone, Ray. So might have to see some patient driving a little sooner than they would have liked.
Now, one thing I'm thinking about, Rachel, here is I'm looking at the 00 of Dwayne Cooper. I don't believe that he pitted this time. I didn't see him pit anyways. He's won also another car that started in back with no qualifying. He started 27th. He's going to be restarting, obviously, on the point. If the case was that he didn't pit, again, I'd have to look back at that. There's a good chance that those tires will last. Again, if they have another wreck, he's still going to have to pit, actually, before this is all over with. We're only on lap 20, a quarter way through the race. I believe these runs are anywhere from 35 to 40 laps. So he should be all right in hopes that he can get a caution before he's got to pit for fuel.
Certainly is, and wow, this race has been up and down already. We're only 20 laps in at this point, but things are definitely on the up and the down. Got a big shake-up, of course. A lot of the drivers who were involved in the accident, some of those had wins already in this season. And that's something to keep an eye on, of course. Brandon Chaburko involved. McKeachin, I believe, was also involved. As was Derek Walker. So this is really shaking things up at the moment, Ray. Three of our previous winners only have their backup car remaining. One of them, well, he has 2 cars, but he's still 8 laps down, so gonna be a big ask to see a repeat winner take this one.
Pace car lights are off, of course. Less than 1 to go. We go green next time. The 32 of, I just saw it here, Seth the Merchant has pulled off into the pits. Looks like he's going to take 4 fresh rubbers and another full can of Sunoco fuel, and he's going to probably be starting back. It looks to be in the 26th position at this point in time. Apparently, he was not the only one from what I'm seeing now as well.
Certainly not. We'll have to see how this one will progress, of course, at this stage, but it's going to be a tricky one to see what will happen. As Derek Walker's actually retired from this event, so Derek Walker will be out of the event for tonight. 20 car will be out of the event. It's one of our repeat winners who will no longer be in your field. And that means we have an increased chance by a quarter of seeing a first-time winner tonight, and somebody else locking into the points. Restart coming up in just a few seconds' time as the field will head into 3 and 4 now. Lap number 21 here of 100 tonight. Dwayne Cooper and Frank Basili III on that front row. Wofford and Atwell behind them. Ramon Evans, Seth the Merchant in 5th and 6th. Row 4, Levine and Henry with Kessler and Holderman. Row number 5. Cooper will be in the command of the field as that pace car will take that long left-hand turn onto pit road. And we'll get back to green flag racing right now, but it's a big bog down by the 00 Cooper as the outside lane gets a far bigger start. We could see a potential black flag there as Basili III crosses the line by almost a full car length ahead of your leader.
Gotta agree there, Rachel. It looks like the 00 actually either fell asleep. Something happened there. Either way, the 94 of Frank Busella III actually got him before the start-finish line. I see the 4 of Garrett Atwell has taken the lead, come down from the high line right in front of the 00 of Dwayne Cooper. Down the back chute they go. 94 with a little less advantage. The 00 right on the tail of the 4, pushing him towards the front in hopes to get out in front of that outside line. Looks like the outside line's breaking up just a bit. The 17 wants to join him on the low side. 94 has absolutely no help. 2 cars back looks to be the 12 of Corey Henry, but can't get to him to give him a push. 17 takes 3rd. The low line is moving up.
Certainly is. And while we're joined right now, he's just come up from the racetrack, still wearing his fire suit. Unfortunately, Derek Walker's backup car had a technical fault, so unfortunately he could not get back into the race tonight. But Derek, not the race you would have wanted. You're up here to join us for a little bit, see what we can see. Give your expert view on what's going on. It's big move there by Justin Levine. That's 17 going from the low side up to the high side here. Could get a shove from Dwayne Cooper. Can he clear out well on the low side? Not looking likely at the moment, but that's caused a big concertina. Derek, things getting shaky at the front.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild up front already the whole race because this loose setup, people still aren't used to it, I think. But you know, the consistent guys that are up front, they kind of know how to hold on to it, and it makes for some fun racing.
Certainly does, of course. Tell us about the wreck. Of course, you were involved in synchronized spinning for most of your front pack on the outside line there, but some big problems.
Yeah, I'm not real sure what happened. I haven't gotten a chance to look at the replay yet. I'm having some computer issues, obviously, because it didn't give me my quick fix there, so that retired us from the race. But from what I'm hearing, I think somebody on the outside just got loose and came down. And there might have been a little bit of net code. I'm not positive, but that was kind of expected going into tonight with this loose setup, especially into 1 and 2. That seems to be the trouble spot on the track for most of the drivers.
Certainly does, and well, as things are going at this stage, it's going to be interesting to see if we can get a new winner. Of course, with you out of the race, it means only 3 previous winners this season, as the 31 of Haldeman will pull up there, but the third cuts underneath him. As Atwell goes high to try and defend, we go 3 wide for your race lead here. The 83 of Evans, Wofford and Atwell on the front row there. They'll punch through, leaving Atwell on the outside. He'll drop to the back, and look who's with his front group. He might be 8 laps down, but Mark Jorgensen Jr., that 88 machine, never far from the front, even if he isn't in contention to lead the race. Derek, one thing we actually wanted to ask, though. You guys, the Dark Horse boys, not running those very useful identification flashes on the back of your roofs at the moment. Any reason?
I think you'd probably have to talk to Chris Piscini, our painter, on that one. I think he just wanted to change it up. I think maybe we might not have the best reputation with some guys because we like to battle pretty hard. So maybe if we take off the flashiness, it might not be so bad for us out on the track. Maybe we might get a little bit of help from some people.
It's a pity. I always like to use that for identification for you boys. As Jorgensen Jr. goes up the hill there in 3 and 4. After he got attacked by the 83 of Ramon Evans. Evans just comes up a little bit of a bump there up the track, but no contact with the wall. No problem for him. As I was saying, Derek, very easy for us to identify you up here in the booth and the fans at home there, so maybe you'll have to find some sort of new system for us to all to tell who you guys are. But of course, always fantastic teamwork from your team, as well as the Chicken Wing boys up at the front, who are a little bit harder to work out who's who, but I guess you'll all be mixed amongst each other at the moment.
I'm really proud of our team as far as our team effort goes for the season. We've been working really well together this season. I think it's the best that we've worked together because we're consistently up front, it seems like, and that makes it fun. But yeah, there's Chicken Wing guys, Chaperko, and I'm not sure if Mark Jorgensen is Chicken Wing or not, but he's always up front there regardless. So I'm not sure what his issue is for tonight. Did he join in late? Is that what happened?
We are not entirely sure. Not on the grid. Jorgensen Jr. was actually stuck. Actually, the pits had to come out a couple of laps down, so that's why he's multiple laps down at the moment. But speaking of chicken wings, the apparently NASCAR held him for inspection 12 times based on that 88's previous performance.
Seeing a lot of single file racing here, and I think that's got a lot to do with this setup. It's rather loose. It is controllable, but now we're seeing some 2 wide racing, but. I think you're going to see a lot of this single file for a little while. People trying to save tires on these long runs, especially the longer the run goes. These tires really start to let go on the back end on the entry of the turns.
Certainly is. As having a quick look at the racing at the moment. Up front, it's a 94 and a 7. Ray, things getting busy.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of gutsy moves, especially by the 4 of Garrett Atwell. And the 00 of Dwayne Cooper. They tried shooting to the outside line. Whoop, we got one down below the yellow line. Let's see if he advances position. If that's the case, that may be a fault. No, he is dropping back. He's giving it back. Not exactly sure what happened there. Right now, the number 7 of Rodney Welford to the outside. Absolutely no help. Talking back to the gutsy moves of the 4 and 00, they all tried to go to the outside, making it 3 wide. They were hung out to dry and obviously lost a bunch of spots. But Garrett Atwell has been making some very good moves to make himself way back up to the front. Right now, running in the 2nd position. 3rd behind him, the 17 of Justin Levine, the 7 of Rodney Welford, the 31 of Kenny Holderman, and the 06 of Tom Drelling make out the top 6.
Certainly is. We've got a second pack developing a little bit further down the running order here. The 10 of Rod Flagg in his Pontiac there. The LSRTV in joke there for that 10 car. He's running down there with the 76 car, the 3, the 12, 51 and 54 and 26. Much further back in your pack. No sponsors on that car, actually, this
36
week.
up
He's
against
into
the
white.
wall, still continues on. Excuse me for the interruption, but falling back. A little bit of right side damage to that Ford of the 36 of, I'm looking for a name as quick as I can here.
Nathan Davies, 2 laps down after that incident. He had to tow that car, so unfortunately the flatbed not quite as quick as he would have wanted. Lost a couple of laps dealing with that blown motor from that big one we had a couple of laps ago. But Derek, this backpack here, these guys seem to think something's going to be happening. They have dropped back, and there's a lot of experienced guys in this group, of course, likes of Henry, Flag, Savant, Holloway, Monster Vice, guys all dropping back here, staying out of trouble.
Yeah, what I'm noticing is it looks like the cars are getting tight as they go into the turn because they look like they're pushing up and hitting the wall, but what's actually happening is the cars are so loose, these drivers, I believe, are afraid to turn the wheel, and it makes it a little bit harder to get into that turn at the right time. And I think some of these guys are starting to recognize that, and they just want to get out of that danger.
Certainly is, and judging by this one, Ray, we seem to think Jorgensen Jr. is actually fighting to the front to try and get a freebie lap back, so he can then try, because he's noticed so many people are actually already multiple laps down as well. He's not going to be getting many lucky dogs here. Might well be going for how many laps can I actually earn back myself. We normally see him obviously leading as many laps in this series. Looks like he's basically trying to earn them back himself.
I'll give him a little bit of attaboy there. I see he's doing his best, especially with the damaged car when he took that side shot. Can't remember exactly who, but he is keeping it up there. He's 8 laps down at this point in the 29th position, but a little bit of investment and obviously never hurt anybody. I also got to get another attaboy to the Atwell of number 4, obviously making it 3 wide with a lap car on the outside. It looks like Raymond Reitenhauer. With that being said, all alone on that outside line, decides to finally find a hole, jump it back down to second place.
Certainly does, and Derek, as this one's going forwards, the top group, very single file. In fact, a lot of your field are, apart from that 00 and the 32. Problems as round he goes. Not quite a crash yet. In fact, that's the biggest not a crash I've ever seen in my history as a commentator, but do these guys have bungee cords attached in their cars because they seem to go and then not go, then go and then not go? As replay going to be coming up for you there. 00 loses the front. 32 hits him, 32 loses it, 32 comes back up the track, doesn't lose it, loses it, doesn't lose it, doesn't lose it, loses it, loses it. I'm an auctioneer of not losing it right now because that was different.
Looks like a spark on the apron Kyle Busch move that I seen at that Daytona one time. They lost it for a short bit, straightened it right back up, kept the green out. Got to give him a little pat in the back there, of course. A lot of car control, even with these loose conditions. Still moving on. Atwell up front now, Gary Atwell, the number 4 up front, now trying the high side again, all alone. No takers to go with him, trying to find his way back in ahead of the 17. Doesn't take the hole. Now he does. Low line, right to the yellow line, right in line with the top 6. Back to the 06. A lot of 6s there of Tom Drelling.
Certainly is, and right now it's on the outside for 4 of Atwell. Basilia the 3rd on the low side here. Derek, Basilia, a strong driver here. He's very much in control of the field at the moment, as it seems to be a matter of dancing around the track. The front pack has really broken away after that little bit of an incident. Things staying, well, very much it's a race of chess here in front.
Yeah, Frank has been running up front most of the season. I've noticed a lot more than he has in the past recently, and I think he's really starting to get the hang of how to control this field and keep them behind him. It's really hard to do, especially when these cars are so loose. But yeah, Frank is a solid driver, and I gotta tip my hat to Garrett Atwell as well. I mean, he's doing an excellent job staying up here. A lot of times he's on the high side by himself and he's still hanging on. So. These are some good drivers that he's surrounded by, and shout out to the 31 there, Kenny Holderman. This is his first race this season with us, and he's running right there with the lead pack.
Certainly is. Holderman up there at the front. Atwell will go back to the front, pushed by your teammate there, Derek, number 7 of Rodney Warford. But we'll come to you, Ray. The number 17 here in that Office Depot Ford Fusion there, Justin Levine. Fantastic job from him. He's moving his way forward. Not run many races this season, but certainly one to be keeping an eye on.
Doing a great job utilizing the draft. Of course, now with the 7 on the outside line, gives him a hole there to try to sneak in, but shuts the door. The Rodney Wolford machine takes the 3rd spot away from him, unfortunately. Garrett Atwell, another pat in the back, buddy. The outside line finally formed up. Got him a chance to get in front of the 94. He took that chance last lap. But here we go again. The outside line alone, the number 7, Rodney Wolford, takes a chance. No takers behind him. Trying to do a little side drafting with the 94 to see if he can sneak up on the 4 of Garrett Atwell.
Certainly is, as the field staying a little bit single file at the moment. Derek, something I actually want to talk to you about as a current driver in the field and one of the setup wizards, of course. We have a new aero package coming this season. It's not just aero, there's suspension changes as well to these cars. As of Wednesday, when iRacing brings its long-awaited, highly talked about dirt update to iRacing, we're getting a big update to the Monster Energy Cup cars. How do you think this is going to affect your performance here on the Superspeedways? We know there are some changes to Superspeedway ride heights, etc., as well as those aero changes. Just what's it going to do to you guys?
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what it's going to do with the draft package. I'm afraid that it's probably not going to help it as much as we want. And with this setup, I'm really liking this setup that we run right now. This loose set. I know it seems to be tough for a few people, but it's a really fun and racy set. So I hope we're able to still run this. I really don't know until we try it, because you hear a lot of rumors. So it's one of those things that all the drivers get a little nervous about, I believe. But it's also exciting too, because it changes it up for us. So I don't know. I think we'll just have to wait and see. As far as dirt goes, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I used to race dirt cars in real life, open wheel modifieds for about 5 or 6 years. So I'm really hoping to see it be realistic and be as close to that as possible.
That is the hopes, of course, and should make things very entertaining for the racing, especially seeing the dirt racing coming on, of course. And we'll see what does the Superspeedway package for the asphalt cars, including those cut machines. But this Superspeedway racing is a fine art, it's a right, it's something hugely affected by those setups, Derek, and how it changes these cars. I mean, the current package, there is good suck up when you have low tape. High tape, not so much.
Yeah, we've been running, I believe it's right around 60 tape, which it's pretty high for these cars right now. So that's why a lot of times you see these cars just backing off or looking like they're pushing and getting loose or tight. And as Frank bobbles and they go 3 wide for the lead here, nope, Rodney's going to tuck in. Yeah, they get real hot, so in 3 laps you have to kind of back off. 4 laps you have to back off and cool down, which makes the other lines get better runs sometimes on you, and sometimes you can go 3 wide when that happens, and it's making for interesting racing. So I kind of like it when it gets hot like that. As one blows up,
Jorgensen Jr. will blow up. Any hopes of recovering laps? Passing your leaders are dashed. 4 points and win leader Mark Jorgensen Jr. as that 88 machine will lose its engine after a sustaining crash damage earlier on in this race. He's now well and truly out. Unfortunate end to his one here, Ray. I'll have to go back to the garage.
And then there was 6. There was actually 7-car breakaway. Of course, the 88 losing a motor there. He held up as long as he possibly could with the damage he had with 8 laps down. There was 7 of us up here, well over, 6 seconds back to the second pack, led by the 32 of Seth the Merchant. These guys are taking and shuffling it up front. It actually slowed them down a hair, but not enough for the second pack to catch them. If I go back to the second pack, they were lined up for quite a while, but now I'm looking at it, they're chopping it up, trying to race themselves. I don't know if they're hoping for a caution or whatever they got to do to get back up front, but I think it'd be smart for them to get in line, get a draft going, and try to catch that lead pack.
Certainly is. Well, we stay under green.
The 94 taps the wall.
He does. Frank was at the third with a bit of a tap of that safer barrier in 3 and 4. Car looks to be largely okay there for him. He might have just dodged that one there,
there's
Derek.
a wreck in the back.
As we have a wreck at the back of your field. I don't see any caution yet.
I believe it might have just been 1 car, maybe 2.
Car. Yeah, we'll take a quick look at this one. As Jorgensen Jr. actually still rolling to pit road. We've got a caution out now, so that will make a big difference. Can Jorgensen Jr. get onto pit road? Can he make his pit box? He didn't qualify, remember, so it will be at the back as Ray, the caution.
Looking for the caution as we speak. I've seen the 88 basically trying to take and get back to pit road as much as possible. I did find the caution. It looks like the 98 sitting here sideways. I'll rewind it and see exactly what happened. Give me a minute here.
And Jorgensen Jr. actually made his pit box here, so free replacement car for him. He might be 9 laps down, but he's got a chance here Still
looks
be in
like
this
the
one.
looks like the 98 basically just lost it on its own. The tires kind of finally took their toll off the corner. He actually was going back in front of a couple cars, didn't collect any, thank God. The only one that actually was a victim of circumstance there was a 12 when he slowed down. He hit the wall, caused little sparks, and of course the caution came out long before that happened, so there's no loss for him.
Certainly is. Well, folks, we are under caution for the third time tonight. We're going to go for a quick commercial break. Stick with us, and we'll be right back.
Racing, you wanted the best, you got them four abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the tire model? Nothing?
Welcome back to the Superspeedway Cup here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. We are bringing you all of the action from today's event, and, well, under caution for the third time here, lap number 37. That's going to be the tricky point. We're running towards halfway tonight's 100-lap race, and it's Rachel Whiteford here along with, yes, it's lap 46. So I was looking at Mark Jorgensen Jr., who's 9 laps down. That'll make a difference. Yeah, we're actually approaching the halfway point. We actually aren't at it quite yet. Actually, no, it's 94 laps. We are at the halfway point. I'll eventually get this one right in my mind. As, you know what? We're not on the one to go yet. We're going to have your iRacing mid-race break. As we cross the halfway point tonight's race, let's take a look at our iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game, with professionally organised racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA and more. It's been a busy one so far, 3 big cautions, one of those taking out most of our top runners. With only 3 previous winners left in the race, we could be open to a first-time winner taking that top step of the podium and locking themselves into the playoffs. I'm going to run down your race running order now very, very quickly. In fact, we're going to have a quick look at just your top 10. Seta Merchant, Garrett Atwell, Tom Drayling, Rodney Wolford, Kenny Alderman in his first race, Brandon Chaburko finally up there in that number 22 car in 6th, Frank Basile in 3rd in 7th, Casey Malone in 8th, Justin Devine in 9th, with Chris Passini in 10th. Rest of those positions very quickly on your screen for you here as we have a lap to go under the pace car. This has been your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. That's iRacing.com. Well guys, we are back of course here live. Rachel Whiteford along with the assistance from Ray Richer and joined by driver Derek Walker from the 20, who's unfortunately had a race shorter than he would have liked here. But you know what? We benefit from his presence up here in the LSRTV booth, so we are very glad to have him. Although, probably not as much as his crew is glad to have rid of him when he's in a mood like this after crashing.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be up here with you guys. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, absolutely. We love having you up here, and it's great to be joined, of course, by Ray as well. Thanks for joining us, Ray. We'll talk to you in just a moment, but the car's now coming through turns 3 and 4 as they formed up too wide. Gonna go green here on 47 as we'll tick across to lap 48. Pace car will head left onto pit road right now, with Seth Merchant and Garrett Atwell in command of your field tonight. The green flag waves, is a bogged down by the outside this time as it's not getting going. Chaburko will pull out and try and pull alongside Warford as looks like Atwell spun his tyres. The Merchant with a big jump on the inside as they're 3 wide already heading into 1. Ray?
Looks like the 22 of Brandon Chaburko goes to the outside, trying to make it 3 wide. A bit of a push from behind the 92 of Casey Malone. 2 by 2 by 2 back on the start. Everybody seems to be caught up except for a few cars at the back. The start at Garrett Atwell with a 4 was a little bit lagging, but he's back up side by side with the 32 of Seth the Merchant. Racing down the back stretch again, 2 by 2. No breakups as of yet. Nobody swapping lines. It looks like we have to go back to position 11 to see the 28 of Shane McKeon, who tried to make it to the outside. Of course, now we've got the 88 fully repaired, but still 9 laps down. Still attempting at least 1 lap back before this race is over with. A little bit of action still up front. The lead now taken by the number 4 of Gary Atwell on the outside line, looking to get down in front of the 32 of Seth the Merchant. Might do it, might bring the 7 with him. The 7 is not cleared the 32 as of yet. Giving it a try to the front fender. The 32 fights back with a push from the 06 of Tom Drelling.
He certainly will be, as the 22 will shove the 7 all the way up there as he'll slot down in front of the 32 as well. Brandon Chaburko wedging his way there in front of Seth the Merchant as Derek. That is classic Chaburko. He didn't quite have a full opening, so he made one.
It's not surprising at all with Chaburko. He'll fit that car in places you didn't think it would fit at all and do it without wrecking somebody. So it's always entertaining to watch that 22.
It certainly is. There's Ray. Some action going on somewhere else in the field.
Absolutely. We're right up in the same action there in 5th place. A gutsy move by the 92 of Casey Malone. Shoots to the low side of the 32 of Seth the Merchant. The Merchant falls in behind him as he takes position. Now the 92 on the rear bumper of the 22. We're going to see the 22 probably jump out again. He's done it a couple times. He's attempting it halfway out. No takers to go with him. Getting a little bit of the lead on 4th spot, but not by much. Outside line seems to be forming up a little bit. The 1 of Chris Pazzini taking a shot at it with a push from the 28 and the 88. Now we see the 22 try to the outside, but no, he goes with them. Going to try to close that hole with the 32. The 22 leads the outside pack. We'll see if we can catch up to the 4 of Atwell.
We certainly will. And Derek, this outside line, and he needs to really get yourself organised. Just how much work does it take to get an outside line moving forwards like this? Because, well, Chaburko's managed to weasel his way to the front. How do you get past the front and into the lead?
Well, you have to take a gamble just about any time because nobody ever wants to be the first car to jump up to the high side and get drop to the back if nobody goes with them. But Chaburko's never afraid to try that. I always like being up there with him, and it looks like there's a strong outside line. We got Chaburko, Cassini, and McEachin, and it looks like the 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. has a new car, so he's going to be up there battling even though he's 8 or 9 laps down. Look for him to mix it up as if he's on the lead lap.
You certainly will, of course, if you can get past your leader and be in that position when the pace car or the yellow flag flies. That'll count him on the lead lap, or at least a lap ahead of where he was, so he could get quite a few laps back at this point, but recovering 9 in about 40 laps could be a challenge even for him. But every lap he gets back is a point over possibly drivers who may drop down the order, although not like he needs it being locked into the chase, so he's racing just for the fun of it at this point, as it's 3 wide a little bit further back, the 31, the 94, and the 3. That is Paul Savant, Frank Basilia, and Ramon Evans back there fighting for position. 2 wide up at the front, and it's Chaburko to the front, pushed by Chris Bassini. Bassini getting very close there to the car of Atwell. Jorgensen Jr. pushing that high side along here as Chaburko will drop down. He did as much as he could, but he'll come back up to help Bassini. Help pull him forward. Jorgensen Jr. will drop down, push Atwell, but he jumps up again to try and make a decision. Takes it 3 wide, puts his nose in there. Very much teasing these other drivers here, Ray.
My goodness, a lot of shuffling up front, a lot of action, a lot of pushba by the 22, I'll give you that. Heard a lot of rumors about this guy that he likes to put that car where it doesn't belong, like Derek said earlier. Of course, right now he's doing a lot of blocking, making that rear end as big as possible. The 4 jumps to the outside, tries to make that outside line work. Brandon Chaburko on the low line in the lead going into turn 1. Looks to be, he has help from the couple lap down car of the 88, but still pushing along. Atwell to the outside. We're in 2x2x2 mode, back at least to the 9th position.
We certainly are. It's 2x2 at the very front at the moment. Let's look at the 3 wide here for the lead of your race. The 88, 9 laps down, the 22, and the 4. This is Superspeedway Cup on LSRTV.
3 wide for the lead, but the leader now is actually the lap down car of the 88 of Mike Jorgensen Jr. He will gain a lap back at this point. If there was a wreck, he'd be able to bring it back around, and he'd be 1 more lap on the lead lap. Our official leader at this point in time is Brandon Chaburko in the 22 on the outside line. It actually cannot get it down because he's being blocked by the 88. Again, being a lap car, he's kind of helping out the 22 in a way.
Certainly is, and Derek, do we expect anything other than seeing that 88 at the front, even if he is 9 laps down?
No, absolutely not. This is classic Mark. He likes to race regardless what lap he's on. He could be 1 lap into this race and he'd still be running it as if it's the last lap for the race lead. So it's entertaining though to see somebody that's laps down up here and intertwined with these leaders, and it's shaking up the order a little bit. But I gotta hand it again to Garrett Atwell because he made an awesome move there on Chaburko as they're battling hard for this lead. They're getting pretty hairy though. As soon as those tires start to let go, I think it's going to be chaos.
Certainly could be chaos indeed, as Atwell will squeeze his way in there ahead of the 7. I guess he figured the 1 was ahead of him, the 7 behind him. He had to put 4 in the middle. Bit of OCD there with his numbering.
I'll tell you what, I'm getting even a little excited about this. Watching that 4 make the moves, especially with the 22 up alongside. He takes it to the inside of the number 1 again. Chris Panini to the outside. Getting help from the 88 is the number 4 of Atwell. Believe it or not, that's pulling him to the front line. He will not lead that lap. Chris Panini is actually the official leader at this point in time. Going down to turn 1. Again, I think the advantage will be with the 4 because he has the 88 in front of him helping him. Losing a little help in the back by the number 7 of Rodney Wolford. The outside line right now with a little less advantage.
Certainly is here as the 4 got on the apron there. Out of 2 that time by here as Bassini will try and push his way to the forwards. Excuse me, I promise I can actually English occasionally. There's 22 car behind him, pushing him forwards here as he will try and get his way down ahead of the 88. But the 88 has a good run still and was not quite clear.
I think what we're starting to see here is some cars overheating, as you see Rodney Wofford and looks like Mark, and I'm not sure who that is on the outside. They're starting to lay back. Oh no!
It was a wreck, but it's not a wreck, as it's actually further back in your field. cars up into the outside wall, but no one actually spins, I don't believe. We will try, yeah, and get a replay. The 3 goes round. I'm not sure why we don't have a caution here. The 3 was spun.
There's the caution.
We have the caution flag out right now here, and as the replay is up, as this was contact starting from the front of your field, really. So we'll take a look at this one. It was multiple locations, but it starts at the front with a push by the 28 Begichin on the 22 car, who taps him down into Jorgensen, up into the wall. Sympathy crashes behind them as drivers try to avoid the damaged cars, and it spirals out of control. Derek, this is the chain reaction you see in these races. It happens in one place, everyone panics everywhere else.
Yeah, that was just that same incident where the car on the high side that's a couple cars back, he just got loose. It looks like, from my view of the 28, he just got a little loose, came down, and since they were 3 wide, he didn't have any room to save it. And he got into the 88 and went to the wall, which looks like it took Chaburko to the wall as well, and he made an awesome save to not come down and take out the whole field.
Could have been so much worse, Ray. These chain reaction incidents almost du jour here in Superspeedway racing, but something these guys have to be aware of and try and not panic.
Rachel, I agree 110%. I think there was a bit of a checkup in the back. I'm actually looking at the second incident, which was along with that caution. It had the 00 of Dwayne Cooper seemed to be losing it on the high side. At the same time, he come down into the 3 of Paul Servant. And unfortunately, Servant come down, collected the 76, which collected more cars, and it caused like a mini big one. I guess that's the best term to have. 76 of Scott Warren actually had it on 2 wheels.
Would a mini big one be a little one?
That would be a minor one.
There it is. But, getting technical here on LSRTV.
Hey, best technicality we can do to explain it to the fans.
It looks like the 00 did the exact same thing that the 28 did in the exact same spot. It's almost, as you said, Rachel, almost like they hit an oil slick, a puddle of water. They just break loose and go down the track.
Question is, has Mark Jorgensen Jr. been setting out water barrels to pop on
I wouldn't
demand?
put it past him.
Well, he's got his lap back here, or will have his lap back. He's currently behind the pace car, will be scored as 8 laps down and will secure that spot, of course. This will be waved past the pace car here, but a typical sort of situation we've seen. We run a number of laps, we get something like this happen. Of course, we have 43 laps remaining in this race, so we will, regardless of whether we stay green to the end, have at least one more pit stop here. But everyone, long enough run, we'll see everyone in for tires and fuel.
Just watching their pits, everybody seemed to take 4 tires. Didn't see anybody singled out by a 2-tire take. Obviously, at this point in time in the race, we are going to have 34 laps to go. We're on lap 60 of 94. The winner off of pit road looks to be the number 1 of Chris Passini. I'm not sure. Demercha did beat him out, I guess. I was wrong about that. I'm looking at the lineup. That's what the issue is right there. I do see also up front the 26, which I am looking for his number. I believe Daniel Holloway. That shows him right now in the 15th position. I am wondering, and that is not a lap down, we've actually got 25 cars right now continuously on the lead lap. Yeah, I think he's way an extra lap.
Indeed, we certainly are back in running order tonight, and as it stands, it'll be Seth the Merchant out front of your field with Chris Passini, Rodney Warford, Garrett Atwell, Casey Malone, Rod Flagg, so he's admin working his way towards the front here. Frank Priscilla in 3rd, Daniel Holloway in 8th with Chaburko in 9th, Jason Altman's in 10th. Running down your order a little bit further, Tom Drayling 11th, Justin Levine, Kenny Alderman, Shane McKeechin with Paul Savant, Jared Treese, Ramon Evans, Brandon Crismon Service, and Gary Champion, with Andy Kessler rounding out your top 20. Rest of your field, Corey Henry, Ray Rinnow II, Dwayne Cooper, Kelly Dahl, Dan Harrington, Nathan Davies, Scott Warren, Jorgensen Jr., Walker, and Walker. And not a Texas Ranger in sight.
Nice call. I'm actually riding along right now with the 20th position of Ray Reitenhauer II in the 87 car. Doesn't look to be any front damage on that car. Looking at the rear, a little bit of a dent here and there, but seems to be up to speed. He is actually still on the lead lap. Again, right now we count 23 cars on the lead lap. First flyer lap down would be Corey Henry in the 12. I believe he was caught up in that incident last time, which actually would have put him in that position. We are going to lead the pack with the 32 of Seth the Merchant. Correction, the 99 will now be the first car lap down of Ken Dahl.
So we've got Brandon Cruz Monsivice here on the LSRTV comms. Brandon, not sure if he can hear us, so we might have to kind of... He can hear us, he can't answer. Okay, so he can hear us, but he can't respond. So, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have Brandon Cruz Monsivice, so hopefully best of wishes to him in the race. And if he can hear us, good luck. Yes, he's weaving. He can hear us on. We're getting a non-verbal communication there from Monsivice as we'll let him go, of course. Got a bit of a wiggle and acknowledgement there from that 94 machine.
I think we'll call that the iRacing wave.
Absolutely. He was wiggling his wings if he had any. As the LSRTV number 54 machine there. That beautiful, almost Mobile 1 Tony Stewart livery there. In fact, the LSRTV logo's done in Mobile 1 colors. I absolutely love that.
It does look pretty sharp. Seems to be keeping it in good shape as well.
Certainly is. He's keeping it in very good shape. Of course, that car painted by LSRTV's very own Cisco Scaramuza. So, a bit of a Picasso up here doing the cameras. So, we'll have a quick look back towards the front of this one. And doubled up too wide for the restart right now. DeMerchant, Pacini, Warford, Atwell, Malone, Flag, Basili the third, Chaburko, Altmans, and Levine. Your top 10. Restart coming up in just half a lap's time. Quick thoughts, Derek. Are they going to go hard this time, or do we see patience?
Well, something I was just looking at, which is I find extremely interesting, is it looks to me as if Seth the Merchant did not take any tires on that stop, while everybody else around him took 4. So we could see a pretty big charge of these guys that are around him if he starts to fall back a little bit, which it might cause chain reaction, and so there could be some chaos on the start of this, or on this restart here.
Certainly could be. We'll see what happens, of course, as DeMerchant and Bassini will take control of your field for this restart, and we'll get back underway here. Going on to lap number 63 of 94. Green flag is out, and it's a big bog down by DeMerchant for the second time, as Bassini gets a huge run there and will cross the line, but checks up to not cross the line ahead of the leader, and he drops back. Unusual there, Ray. That was... an unusual restart.
I believe it was a smart move by the one. I do believe he jumped just a hair. Got him before the start-finish line, gave that position back. 100% legal, not a problem. Right now, your top 2 pull out ahead of the top line. Little help from the 92, the 94, and the 51. Seem to be moving that low line along pretty good. The number 1 of Chris Pazzini, unfortunately falling back to the 4th position. Doesn't look like he's going to be going back any further. We have a spin to the rear.
That's the 31 spinning out. Problems for Kenny Holderman there in that Whelan Chevrolet. Into 3 and 4, goes up the track. Contact with Jorgensen Jr. The Jorgensen into the outside wall, as so does Holderman. And end of the day for some of those cars. Certainly the end of Jorgensen Jr.'s day, Ray. It's his second one. It's replay on your screens.
It looks to me as if there was a little bit of net code, I think, with the 28 and the 31. Which caused the 31 to check up, and the 88 got into the rear of him, sending them both to the wall. So that's very unfortunate for Kenny Holderman and Mark Jorgensen.
Certainly is. And whilst we are under caution here, Derek, we have a technical question, really, as you're our expert analyst for tonight's event. We really wanted to just get your input here, of course. We've seen this as an example throughout the season so far, throughout the 8 races before tonight. But one of the dark horses, really, and not obviously dark horse your team, but one of the real dark horses of this race is that number 10, of course, belonging to Rod Flag. Just going to the technical side of it for us for a moment, just what makes Pontiac's engine package so good here?
Well, I don't know if it's Pontiac or if it's just the skill of Rod Flag. Of course, I have to butter him up a little bit being the president. I want to stay on his good side. So I'm just going to say it's his skill, his driving skill. He seems to be having a decent season, and he always seems to be towards the front near the end, which it's really good to see because I know he's had some bad luck in the past. So I'm really happy to see him running up front like this.
Would you say that Pontiac is the Ford of 2017?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
It's not quite the in-depth technical knowledge we really wanted from you on Pontiac's package they're bringing to these races. But less about Rod's package and more about the racing as we get back going here. Rodney Warford, your leader on the restart as it stands. Chris Bassini, Seth the Merchant, Frank Basile III, Jason Altmans, Garrett Atwell, Rod Flagg, Casey Malone, Justin Devine, and Brandon Chaburko. I will struggle to keep a straight face. We're going to go to a quick commercial break so I can giggle off air. Welcome back to Super Speedway Cup here on LSRTV. Rachel Whiteford with Ray Richer and of course Derek Walker with us in the booth. Under caution here on lap 67. We are back with the race as we're too wide running towards the restart here. We've got into lap number 68. After that, we'll have 26 laps to go.
Couple guys during that caution actually took 4 tires. Uncertain if it's a smart move or not. One of them being the 32 of Seth the Merchant. He gave up the outside front line for that spot. Right now running in the 9th spot but with fresh rubber, he may have the advantage here in the start.
Certainly could have. We'll see how the restart will go for these drivers, but it'll be interesting. Warford and Passini, two very strong drivers up front, and they are joined, as we mentioned, of course, by Basilio III, Jason Altmans, Atwell, Flagg, Levine, Cooper, DeMerchant, and Brayling. A very potent top 10 in this series, so we'll see what will happen. Green flag's out, and it is a good start by Warford on the low side, making it happen for Dark Horse Racing. 7 car at Jack Daniels Chevrolet gets it good going, pushed by the McDonald's number 94. Jack Daniels McDonald's, well, seems like a party.
The number 94 machine with a throwback scheme of the late night Mac McDonald's 94 of Frank Boucher. A nice shove to the 7 of Rodney Welford for the front position right now on the inside line. The outside of Chris Passini, in the number 1 car, seems to be a loner out there, with the exception of the 10 of Rod Flagg, who right now is about 3 cars back, trying to get to his bumper with a little bit of help from the 00 of Dwayne Cooper. Tries to fall in line, not a space to go. There's a space behind the 4, shuts the door of the 51 of Jay Oslot. Unfortunately, not a line for the 1 to go on.
It certainly is. Of course, you keep calling him Chris Panini. I'm going to get very hungry, Ray, but on the outside there, Passini and the Pontiac of Rod Flagg there behind him in the 10 car. 00 of Cooper, who will slot down to the low side, as though Atwell will pop up in front of Passini. They're going to make a charge towards the front here. We've got 4 cars in line there, of course, as well, joined by Shane McEachin in that blue 28 car.
Outside line. Outside line seems to be forming up just a little bit. Everybody trying to fall in. It looks like 6 by 6. Inside and outside line. Whoa, we got a problem. The 94 goes to the inside wall.
More than one. Big problems there, as the big shoulder charge from the number 4 of Garrett Atwell sends Frank Basilio III to the inside. Safer barrier very hard. Behind him at the same time, issues with the 00, as they also have problems. Dwayne Cooper hit by Shane McEachin. He goes down 2. Also slams into the safer barrier. McEachin spins across the grass. Other cars will crash across the tri-oval. Big problems here at Daytona. Lap number 70, and it's not slowing down. I think the other car that had an incident was a 38 car. So problems throughout your field.
Looks like a couple cars took a pretty good hit there, Rachel. The 28 of Shane McKeon unfortunately took a rear end shot from the 06 of Tom Drelling. What ended up happening was he checked up for the wreck in front of him with a 00 and the 94, and unfortunately another victim of circumstance there. Rear end shot. I don't know if he's used his quick repair not for this race or not yet, but if he hasn't, there's still a good chance he can end up in the top 10. He was running 13th at that time.
Certainly was, as Brandon Chaburko once again with an insane save here from Brandon Chaburko. The man somehow manages to weasel that car through some gaps nobody thinks is possible. We think he's got some sort of lubricating motor oil on that Ford Fusion, because, well, he fits through anything, even if he has to squeeze.
I gotta say, I'm watching the replay of the 22 of Brandon Chaburko. You're absolutely correct. The man is just like a front-wheel drive car. He kept his foot in it, kept the wheel straight. That car did just about 3 or 4 fishtails, and right back on the track he went. Incredible driving by Brandon Chaburko in the 22.
I think what we really need to look at, it's not that, but it's the time when the 36 in front of him goes slamming. He hits the 38 when he checks up, pushes the 38 into the wall, misses the 38 as he comes down the track, and squeezes between him and the 06. So Chaburko in that motorgraphed Ford Fusion number 22 there, doing everything he has to do to not need more Ford parts. But that car has definitely seen some very awkward spots, Derek.
Yeah, again, it's always entertaining to watch that 22 drive that car, because he just makes it do things that a lot of people can't do. And I know he's probably going to get a big head from listening to this, but you got to give him props, because that's just excellent driving by the 22 on that. I'm watching it on board, and I don't know how he saved it.
Incredible driving once again from Brandon Chaburko. Will try to ensure his head doesn't get too big, of course, but when he's at the front of the race every week, it's hard to not talk about a driver like that, of course, as don't forget, being at the front of the field, wow, it requires sometimes a little something extra. you can get that little extra from Joel Real Timing, providing you with your timing needs. Coverage of the Superspeedway Cup Series is brought to you by Joel Real Timing and is official timing software of LSRTV. Get it today for yourself at joel-real-timing.com. That's joel-real-timing.com. And you too can use the timing software we use up here in the booth.
Cars
Back
under
to your
caution.
field here as we are, yes, indeed, under caution at the moment, Jay, as Raven, as I'm trying to think of Jason Altman's for a second, but it's Wofford, it's Altman's, as I just mentioned, Piscini and Flag with the Merchant in your top 5. Right, it's tricky to say who's going to win this one, but Wofford has a chance to take the win here. He's one of our, of course, repeat winners in this series. Actually, he's not. No, he is not.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't believe Rodney has a win this season,
Wofford,
so he's definitely...
Altman's, Piscini, Flag, and the Merchant all have not won yet. Only McEachin and Jaburko and Jorgensen. So we're down to a 50% potential for a win here, and that is Shane McEachin, Brandon Jaburko potentially going to be winners. Jorgensen Jr. and Derek Walker out of the event. So we could see a first-time winner.
Got to say, though, looking at here a little bit of track facts for the 7, looks like the 7 is the winningest driver in the series at Daytona. He's got a demanding lead right now. Of course, he's on older tires, which, again, tires aren't much of a disadvantage here. I know it's the old track and all they get chewed up, but again, you can control it if you can hold on. It looks like on the restart here, we're going to have just under 20 laps to go, possibly a 19-lap shootout. Again, with Rodney Wolford on the point, and the 22 still in the mix, anything can happen.
Certainly can and will happen with these cars in this field. And as you mentioned, with the 22 in there, it's all possible. And we expect the unexpected here at the Superspeedway Cup, even here on LSRTV. The field will have a couple more laps before we go back to Green Flag Racing. And Derek, the clock winds down, the tension builds up.
Absolutely, and it's getting interesting here. I see that that caution went into the favor of 32 Seth the Merchant because he is still on those new tires, and now it looks that he's running 5th place. So this restart could be interesting. I know he likes to drive at full 100% all the time, every lap. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how the Dark Horse boys of Chris Piscini and Rodney Wofford work together to try to hold him off for this last 20 laps.
We don't know what's happening with Jaburko as he tries to wedge his way into the shot, as well as the Monster Vice even wedging his way into the shots on camera. But you know what? It's great to see that LSRTV car on screen, so we're not going to begrudge him that one.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on the 54. I see he's in the top 6th place right now. Looks to be they're going to be doubling him up this time, I believe. Yep, that's what it looks to be. There's going to be 1 to go. This will be anybody's race at this point.
Certainly will be, and we could be looking at a first-time winner tonight. We hope we are. That'll make things very exciting as we head towards the playoffs, of course. Especially as it's not, 12 wins from Mark Jorgensen Jr. But, as that used to be said on the actual hood of the number 10 car, anyone but Jorg, I think it was. So, anyone
and
but
you can
Jorg,
never count
indeed.
him out of a race either. Even this one, I think he still has
Somehow
a
he
shot,
could
and
still
I'm
win
pretty
it. He
sure
might be
he's-
18 laps down, but he could still
Right.
win somehow. So you don't say Mark Jorgensen Jr. 3 times into the mirror because he appears and wins.
Every time I'm out on that track, I always look for that 88 because he's going to be up front somewhere, and if I can get him behind me, I always know I'm going to have one of the best pushes out there. So as long as I can keep him behind me, I'm happy. But absolutely, that's how
Very
good
good.
he is.
He's not on track, and we are still talking about him as our director just exclaimed at
He's just that good.
the commentary team. But we are going to be going back to Green Flag Racing this time by lap 74. Going to restart on 75 here. That'll leave us with 19 laps to go here at Daytona. Will we get to the end without another caution? Well, we'll have to find out. But for now, only 20 more laps, roughly, around this circuit before we will go back and see who our new winner is tonight. Will it be new? Will it be an existing winner? That'll be the question here that we will be able to answer in maybe 25 minutes time. Restart good by the 51 of Altman's on the outside line, as not such a good start for Wofford on the low side. Bassini and DeMerchant not really shoving as hard as Flags Pontiac has. Monster Vice drops down low. He wants no part in that high line. The high line rapidly falling apart as a bit of 3 wide behind him, as the 92, the 98 were being passed by Chaburko on the outside. Typical. I look for I spot a 3 wide and Brandon Chaburko's involved. Down there in the 13th spot, working his way forward already, handling the cars as they will move forward now to try and join this lead pack. Right?
Washington 22 of Chaburko. He seems to be trying to both lines at the same time. He can't get one guy or the other to pull him along. He's got to give it a shot, though. When he gets behind 2 cars, he seems to be a little bit faster, especially when the 2 wide, when they cut the draft like that. He'll follow the line ahead of the 18 of Gary Champion. At the same time, trying to take and form to the outside just a little bit. The 92 will take and fall in line in front of him of Casey Malone. The inside line seems to be the preference of choice. Back out front right now, everybody front to tail, front to to bumper, right, trying to get to the end of this race.
Certainly is, as a move by Altmans. He pops to the outside, gonna try and go. Rod Flag will pop out with him. And the number 10 Pontiac Grand Prix will hop out to the high side and start making his way forwards. The 92 and Chaburko behind him as well. We could get a really potent outside line running here, Derek. This could be exactly the fuel they need.
Absolutely, and as that outside line begins to form, you're going to see some of these guys that are closer to the front jump out as well when they start getting a run and try to lead that pack, because that's where you want to be, is on the lead line on the outside. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Piscini. I know he's teammates with Rodney, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him jump out if they get a run, and maybe Dark Horse could try to control that front lane. But with the Merchant and Altman's behind him, it wouldn't be surprising to see them go 3 wide.
Certainly isn't, and we'll see if that will happen at all here as the outside line is starting to get bunched up. We should see if they make some momentum forwards. Altman's pops out with Atwell. The 92 car there of Casey Malone with Chaburko behind him now. That 4-car run on the outside starting to form up momentum, taking them forwards here. Right, this is what they have to get going, and there isn't a lot of laps left to do it.
Absolutely, a lot of gutsy moves going on here. Been keeping an eye on at 51 of Jay Altman. He takes and gets behind the push from Gary Atwell. He's been in and out of the lines low and high all this time, but it seems like the outside line is starting to form and push him to the front. Right now, he shows to be in the 4 spot, slowing him up just a little bit through the corners. The 32 of Seth the Merchant takes the nose just ahead of him, but I don't think that's going to last it long. Of course, the 4 of Gary Atwell seems to be using both their bumpers, again with that wide draft ahead of them, trying to get a little bit of advantage. The outside line moving up just a bit. The 51 will be scored 3rd on this time by the stripe.
Certainly is indeed, as they're going to be going forwards again. Altman's now level with the 1 and the 32 car. The outside not really working. In fact, it's going to drop back and fall into this will they, won't they relationship with trying to push forwards. Nobody quite hooking up as well as they could do with. They're all waiting for that opportunity. As the lap car of Corey Henry on the outside there. Not going to be a good points day for him. We try and move forwards.
Corey Henry
actually
actually
seems to be a
just going...
commitment issue on the outside.
I think he's a little bit afraid to take and go on the outside. Actually, that's the first lap that Corey will be going down. Right now, 16 cars in the lead lap. 51 hung out to dry. Nobody around him actually giving a chance to help. Looks like the 92's trying to make it to that point, but can't get past the 54. Back to 6th spot. Dropping by the low line. They're trying to form up to catch the top 5. 51 looking for space to come in low. Not happening just yet. Still has the guts to keep it to the outside with a little side draft off the 4 of Gary Atwell.
Certainly is there, and Wofford to the point here. As Garrett Atwell is going to try and move somewhere, but on the outside, the 51 of Altman's not moving. Here comes Seth the Merchant going to pop out. Are we going to see something form up? Chaburko hanging back a little, Derek. This is not exactly what we like seeing. We see him hang back like that. He's got something planned.
A lot of rubbing going on up front.
Yeah, I was watching Chaburko on the backside there. I'm not sure if he's just thinking these guys are going to get crazy here, but he's got the rookie 17 of Justin Levine. He's been here, I think, most of the season, but I think it's his first season, so it's interesting to see him up front there working with Chaburko, who seems to be charging forward on the outside. This outside line's forming up, and Altman is taking charge for the lead here on Walker.
Taking a look at that 22, got a little bit of nose damage, but doing a fantastic job. Not sure exactly what his water temperature is at this point in time, but man, he's right there in that top 10. He actually restarted mid-pack, been kind of forcing his way through the field bit by bit. Now as the outside line starts to form up, the 22 will go with them, trying to get to the Pontiac number 10 of Rod Flagg. About 4 car lengths back. If he can get up there, that outside pack can get ahead of that 7, which looks to actually almost be happening at this point in time as the 51 who looks to lead this lap.
He certainly does. Altman's to the very point of the race here. 82 of 94 in the books. As Jason Altman's will head to the front of the pack. That Monster and Haas Automation Chevrolet, or Ford Fusion even, that's one I need to really get right, and I can't still get my head around, but we'll see. The 92 on the outside, the 10, the 7, the 1, and the 32 car. Along with the 17 and the 22, your lead pack. 54 and 4 still involved here as... oh, problems as we have incident. The Pontiac Grand Prix will not be making the checkered flag here as Rod Flagg loses his car in one round. He goes where he stops. Well, the back end of Chaburko's car knows he got tagged, as did a few others there. Rod Flagg, series administrator, causing an incident there with the 17 car as his car got away from him, Derek. This is something we've talked about. Turn 1, the front end keeps turning. Red flag there, nothing he could do.
That's exactly what I saw. He turned around, come out of turn 1. The rear end kind of come around on him. The front end went down, tagged the 1, which actually ended up bunching a whole bunch of cars in the back. Watching as the 22 avoids this wreck as much as possible, but gets tagged by the number 10 in the right rear corner. I don't think that's going to be enough to slow him down. He keeps it straight and will be able to restart in this, collecting 5 cars total on this wreck.
On board with the 54 there, Brandon Cruz Monsivice. We'll see how he got through the wreck. And it was good avoidance by that LSRTV 54 car. As he pulls the Chaburko there and just sidles through everything. Sees it happening ahead of him, goes as low as he can. But it's just pure luck there at the end, as Monsivice has the luck of the Irish, avoiding a car that should have by all rights been in the way of him. I don't know how he escaped that.
Checked up. He did an excellent job getting checked up, seeing that way ahead of him happening, and I think that's what saved him, was that early notice of Rod Flagg getting sideways. But yeah, that was a really close call. I'm not sure how he got through at the end.
I don't think that was either him avoiding anything. That was absolute craziness there, because it was like going through a pinball machine. He just happened to be in the right place for the tiller arm to just not hit him.
I think the technical... I see the 17 kind of come down, just about tag him, didn't touch the 54. I believe the technical term on that is punch the throttle and hold on tight, because that's exactly what he did. He made it through the wreck beautifully.
It was definitely a very busy race there. Jason Altman will be your leader here, as we're going to see whether we'll see cars head to pit road. Atwell and Malone have been down. Pit road will now see how this will filter out.
Looks like we have another victim of that wreck, the 94 of Frank Brucia III. He seems to be having front-end damage. The car is smoking, still making laps. Wondering if he's just trying to make it back to pit road and hopes that engine doesn't blow up to continue here. Uncertain again if he's used his quick repair or not. If not, we're hoping to see him back out there.
And there goes his engine. Problems for that car. Not what he would have wanted to have happen. Well, unfortunately there for the 94. Frank Wasilla III will be on pit road. Had to take the flatbed back there. His day, unfortunately, looking like it will be done. Well, looks like the McDonald's was overcooked. Heading to the front of your field, Jason Altmans, Rodney Wofford, Chris Bassini, Seth DeMerchant, Brandon Chaburko, Brandon Cruz, Months of Ice, Casey Malone, Gary Champion, Paul Savant, and Garrett Atwell will be your top 10, whilst the drive-through smokes on pit road as Chaburko in 5th place. His car has a damaged front right fender there, Derek. It's going to slow him down somewhat.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much damage he has. Oh, there's problems with Rod Flag, it looks like. I'm not sure what's going on.
Unfortunately, the NASCAR version of Rod Flag's Pontiac Grand Prix having similar problems to the street version of the Pontiac Grand Prix as he spins, leaving pit road. And somehow, we aren't sure what Rod Flag's doing there as he tries to get going again. Spins twice on the track again, as we'll see if he can actually manage to keep it in a straight line for a while, but big problems for Rod Flag, it would seem, as his Pontiac Grand Prix is, as Francisco Scarosa tells us in the booth, turned into a Prius.
Looks like there's so many puns, so little time here, and with that being said, it looks like we're going to have 9 laps left right now, still under caution. I'm not quite sure where Rod is going. I'm seeing this myself. I think he's showing a lap down, but I don't believe he is. So I think he's trying to catch back up to the field with that spin coming out of pit road.
Yeah, because he left pit road ahead of your... Well, no, he left pit road ahead, of course, of the field. But unfortunately, he crossed the line before the leaders. Unfortunately, then spanned twice, so of course was further back. The pace car, of course, waving him back to where he should be. But what we're sure is, I think he should be perhaps on Dancing with the Stars after that many pirouettes.
I do believe this may put him back on the lead lap, and if that is the case, we'll have 15 cars on the lead lap, scoring 14 at the moment in time. Let's see, your first car is Jay. I'm sorry, thank you. Cannot pronounce his last name correctly. I still have a horrible time with that. Jay Altman's on the front row, Rodney Wolford to the outside in the 7. The top next two are going to be Chris Passini on the number 1, Seth DeMerchant in the 32 in row 2. Row 3 will be Brandon Chaburko, and the 22 has moved up from mid-pack and actually going to start in 5th place on this restart. Look for him to go for the win in these last couple laps. The 54 of Brandon Cruz Montevaz will take the 6th spot. 7th and 8th, 18 of Gary Champion, the number 3 of Paul Servant. The 9th and 10th spot, Rainwright and Howard Jr., who has fought back to get into the top 10, and the 98 of Andy Kessler doing the same exact thing.
They certainly are, as they form up too wide for the restart, folks. We are not going back to caution. We're not going, hopefully, back to adverts, because this is where it gets wild. Superspeedway Cup here on LSRTV, as I will try to use the English language properly. Halfway down the backstretch now, heading towards the restart here on lap 87. If we get a caution, it has to come within the next 3 laps. Or lap, perhaps. 1 lap, actually, as I'm being corrected, before we will end under yellow. So it's go hard or go home time for the guys in the field here. This is when the racing becomes incredibly exciting. This is it. Will we see a first-time winner? 2 drivers here can deny that. They are the drivers of Brandon Chaburko and, of course, Shane McEachin. McEachin down, multiple laps down at this point. The only one that can spoil the party, Brandon Chaburko in that 22. We know he has a history of doing so. Could it be Altmans, who is in command of the field? Green flag will fly. Altmans and Wofford will head to the stripe. Green flag back out here at Daytona.
A little bit of slippage up and back. The 98 falls back to a couple positions, I think, because of the damage. Unfortunately, touches the 4 of Gary Atwell, who is still on the lead lap, trying to fight his way back up to the front. It looks like we've got to pull ahead of the number 7 of Ronnie Wolford, but no, fighting back on the lower side, Jay Alat with the number 1 of Chris Pattini pushing behind. The 32 drops to the bottom to join that group on the low side.
He does indeed, as we'll get back under conditions here. Seth DeMerchant moving up and down.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the 1 jump up in front of the number 7 here on the outside and leave Altmans by himself. Nope, the number 7 got room to get in, so at some point in time I look for those 2 to jump out and try to make a run, and we could have a good battle at the end.
Well, they're your teammates, of course. Derek, what would you do?
I would absolutely be on the radio telling them to jump up as soon as we get a run, and because that would leave Altman's by himself at least for a little bit of stretch, and you might be able to take the lead.
Certainly it could be as things stand. Altmans will lead the way. Passini and Wofford, a double threat of teammates behind him. He has to realise that.
Oh, Chaburko to the inside wall.
Oh, Brandon Chaburko is out as he has lost his car. Yeah, one car incident. Not going to go to a replay of that one, but he seemed to lose it on his own. He goes up high. No, he's tagged by the 26 car of Daniel Holloway, and it sends it hard into the inside wall, into the tyre barriers at the bus stop. Looks like he's catching the CityLink home tonight, unfortunately. But the Frontier pack, too wide there as they've done what we thought they'd do. Passini and Wofford to the outside. The gap now left by them pulling up, of course, leaves Altmans on his own. 54 there of Brandon Cruz Monsivais will pull up into that spot. Can he push him forwards? Will him, the 3 and the 87 make it for this one? But DHI to the point here. The 1 and the 7 with a perfect draft move. Here comes Altmans to go and get the push from the Merchant. Wofford goes up and Wofford goes round. Problems as everyone spins. Caution is out. We will end under caution. New winner tonight, as we'll get a replay for you of dramatic occurrences here at Daytona International Speedway that have ended this race here tonight. Round number 9. Looking like it will go to Chris Passini, but the replay will be up there. You'll see the car of Wofford try to go high. Wraps himself around Altman's bumper. Nothing Altman's could do. Spins Wofford. Altman's himself gets spun by the Merchant. Monsivais across the grass will end up with a 5th place finish for him. Fantastic results. But Chris Passini, first time winner in tonight's event. Chris Passini, in fact. Monsivais apparently going to get a second. He's being waved back past here. Time of caution flag. Looking like he'll take second. We're not sure yet, but it's Chris Passini for the win. Yes, he wasn't involved in the wreck. No contact there for Monsivais. Second place finish. The LSRTV Chevrolet SS. Fantastic result there. It could be second. We're not sure. But as things stand, of course, Chris Passini, he wasn't in. Actually, he was in 10th place in your standings. Would have been in the chase on points, but now he has a win, putting him secure in those playoff standings.
Waiting for the field to come around at the stripe, so everything scores back out. I was actually watching the replay during that wreck. The number 4 of Gary Atwell had really good hands on it. He almost got involved in it. Was able to get up to the 3rd place spot, but obviously now we're scoring him in 6th place. I'm not exactly sure what happened when the caution came out, but I thought he was up there quite much further. It does look like Brandon Cruz Monsivais in the LSRTV car will take 3rd this evening, with Seth DeMerchant in 2nd, and your winner, number 1, Chris Passini.
It is in fact that way. Passini, DeMerchant, Monsivais in 3rd place. Malone and Savant your top 5. Atwell, Rittenauer 2nd. Holloway, champion. Kessler, your top 10 here today. Jason Altmans will come home in 11th place after that spin, as will Rodney Wofford in 12th. We'll come back to those full points in a second. These are unofficial results, of course. We'll have to have a review of what has happened in this one. But we will actually now go through your full unofficial post-race results here tonight, as we are running under caution to the end of this race. Of course, this is subject to post-race review. We'll see what happens, but as we mentioned, Passini, DeMerchant, Monsivais, Malone, Paul Savant, Gary Atwell, Rittenauer 2nd, Daniel Holloway, Gary Champion, Andy Kessler. Those are your top 10, Ray?
11th of 51 of Jay Ocelot, the number 7 of Rodney Walford. I told you, I'm horrible with names, guys. The number 12th position will be the number 7 of Rodney Walford, who actually was up front for most of the race. Unfortunately, spin for that last wreck. 13th place of Corey Henry in the 12. The 14th, the first car lap down scored, the 17 of Justin Levine. Number 10 in the Pontiac, Rod Flagg, will take 15th place. 16th, Brandon Chaburko, who actually was involved in that wreck but didn't bring out the caution, hit the inside wall on the second to last lap before the caution came out. The 17th place will be the 82 of Dan Harrington. Number 18th place, 14th of Jared Treese. The 19th place, 7 laps down, will be Frank Wasala III in the 94, and your top 20 is a 28 of Shane McKeon.
Nathan Davies 21st tonight, Tom Drayling in 22nd, Dwayne Cooper, Kenny Holderman, Ramon Evans, Kelly Dahl, Scott Warren, Mark Jorgensen Jr., Stephen Walker, and Derek Walker in 30th. Well, certainly a very exciting end to that race there, Derek. Things went a little bit sideways for these guys. Not quite what they would have wanted.
Yeah, that's how a lot of these races seem to finish. Everybody's trying to get every position they can there at the end. It looked to me like I think Rodney was just coming up to try to block that run on the outside. I'm not sure. It looked like he had the room, so I don't know if maybe there might have been some netcode there or not, or if he just got a little bit loose with the 51 taking the air out from under him. So I'm not real sure what happened there, but it's unfortunate to see that happen because those guys were going to run a pretty good race there at the end and probably make it a really exciting finish.
They certainly were. Unfortunately, that's not what we'll see here today, as we will end under yellow flag conditions here in the Superspeedway Cup Series event at Daytona. But we do see a new winner for the first time this season. Lights still on the pace car. Lap 93 will cross on to the final lap now. And even if we go back to 2-wide racing, we will not restart this race. Unfortunate to end under yellow flag conditions, Ray, but this is unfortunately a side effect of timing those laps to have a caution on the run to the flag. We've had this a couple of times this season, but not very often. It was fantastic racing. Of course, your first time in the booth tonight for the Superspeedway Cup Series. How have you enjoyed it?
I've actually had a lot of fun, I'll say that, Rachel. Derek, we appreciate you joining us up here in the booth. If you want, you can get out of your fire suit anytime, bud. Second of all, I will say this with iRacing, that they have something built in, not as of yet. If you take caution within 5 laps to go, unfortunately, we've got to finish under caution. They don't have the green-white checker built into the system. I think that's been considered at this point, but nothing as of yet. Either way, I've had a lot of fun with you guys. This has been a great race to call, great race to watch, a lot of shuffling, a lot of gutsy moves, and it makes for a very entertaining evening. And I've enjoyed myself right from the point that I started to now.
Certainly have done. And speaking of first times in the booth, Derek Walker hopped out of his race car after an early incident on lap 21-ish, I believe it was. And you've spent most of the race up here with us. Thank you very much for joining us, of course. But how's it been on this side of the camera for once?
Well, thank you guys for having me up here. I tried not to intervene too much. I'm not near as good as you guys. You guys are excellent commentators, and I don't know how you do this every week and keep us entertained like you do. You do a great job. So thanks again for having me, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a pleasure, and it's really interesting to see these races from a different view. I'm so used to being out on the track with these guys, and it's really fun to see how some of them work together and make moves and just watch all the excitement.
Certainly is, as we will go on to our white flag lap now. Yellow and white together. We're going to end under. This is checkered flag we've had last time by. This will be the checkered flag. Flying now for Chris Bassini. Although unofficial results pending some position changes after that final wreck. We will go checkered flag there, ending that race.
Couple guys beating a little fenders back there, congratulating each other. At least we'll put it that way. That's a technical term for iRacing, I believe. But congratulations again to our winner, Chris Pazzini, this evening in the number 1 car. Drove a fantastic race, kept it up front most of the evening, and for an exciting end.
Certainly did, and we'll hopefully get a chance to chat to some of the drivers in just a few moments. We'll go to our final quick commercial break. When we come back, post-race interviews, so don't touch that dial. They're always fun for Superspeedway Cup.
was interesting this morning to come out here and get on the track and look closely at how rubber was starting to kind of take to the track, you know, where there were ruts and spots that looked still like dirt, and other spots were super shiny and had a bluish tint.
We scanned this track twice because we needed to be able to measure the differences between the track before it's raced and after it's raced. With dirt track racing, the dynamics of the track change dramatically once it's raced on throughout the race. And by scanning it beforehand, we were able to gain a baseline that we're now able to compare with the scan from after the race. Take a look at the cushion, see where it's built up, see how deep it is, and try to figure out some of these variables that we'll have to account for when we create our digital representations of dirt racing and dirt tracks. Our associate producer, Kevin Einarelli, was actually quite the soldier, and he stayed here all night scanning so that we could get this second scan, because in the morning after the race, they ripped the track up. So the window that we have to collect that data is very limited. So thanks, Kevin. So we had a similar approach with the photography of this track that we had with the laser scan. We photographed it twice. So we were able to get in here right before the race started, right after all the trucks had finished running the track in, and take reference photography of the track. And then we returned today and took another set of reference photography. And we took photos of all the various elements that we need to account for: the cushion, the groove, the areas of the groove that have received rubber, and the apron. And we have a specific technique that we use to take these shots. We are using something called photogrammetry. What photogrammetry is essentially the science or a method which will allow us to take photographs and extract three-dimensionality from them using common elements between the photographs. And it's a great technique to create textures for our racing sim, and it's something we've been doing for a while, but it's especially helpful with dirt because of the three-dimensional characteristics of the dirt and the way it collects. So it's a really good technique, and it should result in a great looking racetrack.
A lot of what I'm seeing kind of confirms what we already believed and already knew and have already started working on. So, you know, my plan is to get together with Dave Kamer and get in detail about what's going on between the tire and the road, because the ruts seem to be a significant piece of the puzzle, where the rubber shows up on top of the rut. So getting the tire grip correct on a track that has as much variation as a dirt track does is going to be key.
We know that every racetrack, every dirt racetrack is unique. Different soil compositions, different color, different types of grooves developed depending on the different types of cars. So this process that we've gone through this weekend is not going to be a one-off thing. We're going to do it again, increase our knowledge, and we'll take that knowledge home with us, and it will help us create a better version of these tracks in iRacing.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the tire model? Nothing?
Welcome back to LSRTV and the Superspeedway Cup series here on iRacing Live, and it's been a fantastic race tonight. Ended at a caution. First time winner Chris Bassini will take the flag. And we have in fact got Chris Bassini to chat to tonight. Chris, you won it under yellow, but doesn't matter, you're locked in.
Yeah, I'll take that one after a crazy race tonight.
Certainly a fantastic one for you as well. You're up front for most of that race. You and your teammate, of course, Ronnie Wofford, were hooking up towards the end. Going to make a move down, Jason Altman's, but, well, drama happened as it always does at Daytona, and you guys, well, he didn't succeed, but you made it through somehow.
Yeah, I made the move at the right time there. I guess I had Rodney and Seth wanted to go with me, so it was good timing. It's just unfortunate to see that happen towards the end of the race, because even if I wouldn't win, I'd rather see it play out on the green than finish under yellow.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, these things do happen sometimes in a sort of racing. And, well, you put yourself into playoff positions. Does this change how you race now, considering you were locked in on points already, kind of? You're good on points. You're now locked in overall. Is this just mess around now until the playoffs start?
Yes and no. I always try to race like I'm points racing, because you can never rely on a win. But when you do get a win, it is always kind of nice. So I guess now if I get wrecked out or I can't finish a race, I just won't be as mad as I would normally be.
Well, hopefully that won't be the case. Who makes it work for you guys, of course, on the number one car?
Well, first I just got to give a shout out to my wife for letting me come down here on Friday nights and race with everybody here. Rod and you guys for putting this on every week. My teammates over at Dark Horse, and my dad for watching. So, thank you.
Well, there you go. Chris Bassini, the number one machine tonight, taking home the win in round number 9 of the Superspeedway Cup Series. Standing by on pit road with Brandon Cruz Monsivice, who drove that 54 LSRTV machine, is Ray Richer. Ray?
Brandon, great run this evening. Kept it up top 5 most of the evening. I'll tell you what, buddy, I didn't expect you to take third. I was seeing you back there at 4th, 5th place. How'd you do it in the last couple laps?
Oh man, well I tell you what, it was fun racing out there tonight. I think I just got there by being in the right place at the right time. I haven't seen the replay yet, but whenever I saw the leaders get sideways out of 4, I knew my only chance was to go down into the grass and try and beat the cars running down. And I think obviously that's what put me here, but like I said, just being in the right place at the right time and having a very fast LSRTV machine really helped me tonight.
Tell you what, those colors pop on that car. It looks beautiful. Of course, mirror image of the Mobile One Stuart Haas racing car. You did a great job on getting that out to the front as far as you can go. We did see it kind of shoot up through the field quite a ways. That last caution, though, you did tag the 17 a little bit, and of course you just ran through it through the grass. Is there anybody else you'd like to thank this evening for the 3rd place finish?
Oh, well, I got to thank Seth DeMerchant and Daniel Holloway. Those guys are some of my best friends and best buds here. I've been racing with Seth for about going on like 8 or 7 years now. We used to race on the Xbox, so we have good communication and we always work well together. And then, like I said, Daniel and I are pretty good at drafting and just working with each other. And then I got to thank LSRTV, and I got to thank Cisco, man. Cisco himself, LSRTV and Cisco made this paint scheme, and I got to say it looks absolutely amazing. I'm proud to drive it. It looks just absolutely awesome. So thank you, Cisco, for that.
Number 54, Brandon Cruz Mazvaz, 3rd place tonight, bringing home the LSRTV car. Rachel?
Well, there it was, of course. We are to give a quick chance to have a quick chat to series admin Rod Flagg. We don't normally talk to him very often, but Rod, unfortunately, didn't go as well for you as you might have liked in your number 10 Pontiac Grand Prix, but some really amazing running from you up at the front today. Fantastic driving up there. One of these days, going to lock yourself in?
We're hoping so. Tonight, apologize for especially that caution with about 11 or 12 to go. That I ran out of talent going into turn 1. It just literally, it wasn't that the setup is loose. It just, I got really confident in what I was doing, and I let my steering wheel turn a little left more than I wanted it to, and I knew better. And so that's all on me. Apologize to the drivers because this is my first penalty point, so I'm going to be getting a -5. They understand, they get it. It's not fun, but I really want to thank and congratulate Chris Bassini. He's not just an asset on the track as far as a driver. He's a league admin. He's somebody who helps us review the races, and I sure appreciate it, but I deserve a lot of crud tonight for causing that that caution with 13 or 14 or 12, however many laps to go. So,
well, we did hear some drama for your sponsors, I believe, in this race. Something to do with the guys you were running in your livery in the real world and what they did in history. Tell us something about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Lycos.com didn't pay their bills, so we had an unsponsored car on the track tonight, and so we preach out to those who have money, those who want to be on LSRTV, those who love racing. We would love to have you on our car, but unfortunately, we didn't get paid for the 8 races that we were on LSRTV with the sponsorship. So unfortunately, it happened that way. So that's why you saw a white car on the track tonight, and let's hope that at Talladega next week, maybe there'll be some comfort in where we're going.
I don't want to know if that's some sort of euphemism for what sponsor you're coming up with for the next few rounds, but if you want to sponsor Rod Flag, watch this space. You could be on the only Pontiac Grand Prix in the field, folks, so that's always a big selling point. Thanks for joining us, Rod.
Pretty sure $99 or less could get you on our car.
There you go. He said it there himself. $99 or less. Yep. As we move on with this one, it's been a great race for everybody tonight here in the LSRTV booth. Been joined by Ray Richer and Derek Walker, joined us for the majority of the race. Fantastic having both of you guys. I've been Rachel Whiteford. We've been joined, of course, as always, by Cisco Scaramouza, our fantastic director up here in the booth. We'll join you next week for Talladega, when Evan Pasoka won't be playing with monster trucks. He'll be commentating that race. Have a great night.